first drove from Illinois to Oregon, my little sister came with me before she went off to college. And we were just driving through Montana and middle of nowhere, and it was like beautiful sunset, and both just making like ridiculous jokes and laughing. And I remember thinking like, this is so great. Like shortly after my fuel pump went out. But those moments, like I think back on all the time and remember like why I do what I do, and kind of that sense of like freedom and doing something for yourself. Hi, my name is Gabrielle Nelson. I travel in a 1982 Volkswagen Vanagon. This is my pup Cash. Yeah, so I'm originally from Illinois. I grew up camping my whole life. We had a big motorhome, and then we switched to tent camping. There was always some form of vehicle to get out. When I went off to college, I knew I wanted to explore. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I kind of fell into the pattern of like, well, I need to make money, I need to be successful. So I went to school for physical therapy originally. And after about 2 years of flip-flopping between degrees and not being able to decide what I wanted to do, I just started hunting for a van. I kind of just craved that outdoor experience I had as a kid because I felt most free then, and I think that's kind of what I was looking for, was just freedom to figure out what I wanted to do. I guess who I was, as cliche as that sounds, was super important to me. And I was gonna go the more practical route, but I just fell in love with the aesthetic of this van. Yeah, it just kind of felt like a little clubhouse, which I don't think I knew at the time, but I was looking for something kind of nostalgic to bring me back to like why I started. Cash, don't you dare jump. He grew up in the van and he's very protective of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when I first set out, I had a little bit of money saved, and it didn't get me that far with a handful of breakdowns, but I ended up just taking odd jobs. I had a lot of experience helping my dad with different projects around the house, and I like the manual labor jobs, and I think I'm pretty good at picking things up fast. So I worked at an auto shop that my van broke down at for a couple months, and then I made my way down to Bend, worked at Mount Bachelor because I wanted to snowboard, and I was like, oh, free pass. Well, from there, that's kind of where creative things started to take off. I'd been sharing a lot of photos online, kind of journaling a bit and documenting my travels and experience. Yeah, I started to get hit up by different brands and learned that you could monetize this lifestyle. He does, he kind of likes to wade in more than jump in. So he finds his way. It was working out, I was having fun with it. Gosh, look. I did get a little bit burnt out maybe 2 years in, and that's when I reached out to an agency and signed with them so that I could get into modeling, because I'm like, oh, I do photo work all the time. I've been in front of the camera, behind the camera, and so I signed with them, continuing to do kind of the online documenting, sharing, and then picking up shoots and going to model. And it was a really nice balance between like getting to share a personal side of the story and then going to work to a shoot and getting to do a job and not take it home with me and not making it so personal. Oregon just kind of has everything I love, and I love the people here. And the goal was never to be on the road all the time anyway. It was to figure out what I wanted to do and have the option to take off and kind of have my clubhouse on wheels to go with me. It's also exhausting just figuring out where to park, and that was fun at the beginning, but now I kind of like having a mix of routine and then getting out. I love feeling independent, and I don't love asking for help, and I like to be able to do things myself. But buying this vehicle has kind of forced me to ask people for help, and it's taught me that people are really kind, and it's okay to ask for help, as like simple as that sounds. It's kind of tough to learn that when you grow up independent and liking that. I ran into a lot of people, especially early on, that were like shocked. They're like, oh, you're alone traveling in the van as a female? And I know it's meant as like just surprise and a compliment. I found it at times a little bit insulting because they were just surprised that I was able to do that. And I do have my parents to thank for taking me camping and showing me how to do things, or even if they didn't show me, they showed me that I could do things and they believed in me. I think it's important to do your research, have your support, but You're never gonna have it all figured out. You just have to go try. And you're probably gonna fail here and there, but people will help you, and always go with your gut. I think that was a huge thing for me as a female. If I rolled up somewhere to park and I just wasn't comfortable with it, I would just go get some gas station coffee and keep driving. But you'll figure it out. I don't think it's as crazy as people say. It's much easier when there are examples of it out in the world. I mean, the people that have the biggest impact on me are just being entirely themselves and doing what they love, and I don't see it as like selfish. I see it as someone just living a life that's true to them, and I find that super inspiring. And so hopefully me living my life the way that I do and doing the things I love inspires other people, especially women, to figure out what they love and know that they have the ability to do it, and that it's going to be quite the experience, but like it's worth it and it's really fulfilling.